What do you guys got for us today?
Well, a couple weeks ago, we talked about a very timely topic that comes up all the time, which is how your personal auto policy responds if you're carrying passengers for a fee, whether it's a taxi, Uber, Lyft, you're just doing it on the side. And we were supposed to talk about this last week, but somebody, namely me, had the flu. So today,
Rick.
I know. Thanks,
Matt.
Matt. So if we really want to know, Matt Pruitt gave Rick the flu, who gave me the flu. But we're back.
She's bringing it back in to give it to me.
But we're back.
We're sharing it.
And we're going to talk about how your personal auto policy responds when you are carrying items for a fee, or you're hauling things and charging for it.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about today.
That falls into like the Uber deliveries, that falls into pizza deliveries, that falls into even item deliveries nowadays. They're getting very, very popular.
And they're called, that's delivery, as opposed to livery, which is hauling people. So if you're interested in about hauling people and what that would do, go back to our YouTube page and listen to this show a couple weeks ago when we talk about that. If you're carrying people, it's not, things for a fee, it's not as black and white.
Right.
So you want to start off by talking about if you do it through a service like...
Oh yeah,
okay,
so yeah. There's a lot of companies out there like Uber, Lyft, and several others. Now, they get around it by providing the insurance for their clients. So when you accept that delivery, their insurance becomes primary, yours becomes secondary based off their contracts. Now, if you do those types of deliveries, make sure you read that contract because it will spell it out in there. I'm not an expert. I just know the Uber one because I enjoy doing that one.
So yeah, if you're working through a service, Uber Eats, whatever they are, all the different ones, or you're working for a company that requires you to deliver in your own personal vehicle, whatever that is, whether it's pizza or whether it's anything, find out in writing what insurance coverage they provide for you. That's important. And then take that to your insurance agent and tell them what you're doing and have them make sure that your policy coordinates properly. Now, if you're doing it on your own, without going through a service, then there's really two things you have to think about. You have to think about what the policy says, but then you have to think about what we call underwriting. So do we want to start about what the policy says?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the policy, the only business exclusion on a standard personal auto policy is if you are using something other than a private passenger auto. Okay. So that's pretty much the only business exclusion, and I'm oversimplifying it. But so if you're using your pickup,
You're fine.
But if you're using
A P30 bread van to deliver your...
and so in that, but so that's that part of it. The other part, and this is the difficult part to explain, we call it underwriting, which just underwriting, there's an underwriter, a person at the insurance company that takes all the information we give them and they tell us, yes, we'll write it and this is how much it's going to cost, or no, we won't write it. If your insurance agent does not know you're using your vehicle in business, and they're going to tell your insurance company that you're using it back and forth to work, if you have an accident, your insurance company could exclude it because you failed to disclose the right information to your agent.
And some contracts out there will have exclusions in there that state that if you fail to disclose this, there is no coverage.
Right. And we have seen it where they just look the other way, and we have seen it where they stick to it.
It really depends on the severity of the claim.
Yeah.
If it's just a small fender bender, someone got a bumper scratch,
They're probably not even going to
They're
ask.
gonna just pay for it. But when it comes to like, 2 or 3 people injured, we're looking at $1 million lawsuit. They're gonna look at that and go, that $4,000 auto policy is about to cost us $1 million. Yeah, let's go ahead and exclude that.
Yeah, on a fender bender, I don't know that they even ask you how you were using it.
No.
But so that's why the whole "it depends" is it's my favorite answer, but it's also my least favorite answer. The safest thing to do is to make sure your insurance agent knows what you're using that vehicle for and that they're rating it properly. That's really the only thing that you can do to be safe. is to make sure there are a lot of different auto policies, not as many as you'll see. Some auto policies are fairly standard, but there's some endorsements, and I've even seen rideshare endorsements, I've seen delivery endorsements. There's ways to cover it properly, but the way to cover it properly is not to wait till after there's an accident.
Well, I can see that too. I mean, because people are saying, I'm not going to go tell my insurance agent because they're going to raise my rates. But let's say you're carrying, you're picking up food or whatever for somebody, they got $100 for the food, you have an accident, and all that food is now ruined. Who's going to be responsible for the $100? You now.
Well,
you know what
Well,
I'm saying?
it depends on the contract.
It depends
Yeah.
on the contract. Depends on the contract.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is for, you to agree for $20 to haul some lumber for Rick, and the lumber all flies out, and you kill somebody,
Yeah.
in the vehicle
See,
behind
that's
you.
my biggest
And
issue
they're-
is,
and they're
is
like-
hurting somebody else.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, was that your lumber? Oh no, my buddy paid me. Oh, you didn't tell us you
Way
were."
to go, Rick. Way to get me
And
in trouble.
again, the insurance companies.
Quit hauling my lumber.
And every insurance company is a little different. And as a rule, there are some exceptions, but as a rule, they're really not trying to find a way to not pay your claim. That's not what they want to do. They're not trying to trick you. But on the other side, they expect to know what the risk is so that they can charge properly for it. So it kind of goes both ways. But I think it's a myth. And I'm glad you said it, Matt, because we hear it all the time. If you have a good insurance agent that you trust, and if you don't trust them, get you one you do.
There you go.
They're not, if you tell them something, they're not going to be like, "Oh, good, I get to charge them more money." That is not what they're trying to do. A good insurance agent wants to cover you properly for the best rate that they can give
There you go.
and then you aren't surprised after. Because a bad insurance agent, I would think, would be one that doesn't try to tell you ahead of time, and then after the fact, be like, "Oh, sorry, nope, wasn't covered. Stinks to be you." So anyway, but yeah, if you're carrying passengers for a fee, or like we talked about today, things for a fee, just address it ahead of time. It can get complicated. That's why I say
have
again,
full disclosure.
just talk to your
Yeah.
agent, get it in writing, that they understand.
There you go.
All right. Well, how do folks get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can call us at 940-549-2525 or visit us on the second floor of Sierra Bank Building.
And then if you are listening and you're in the Hudson Oaks area and want to go by over there, 2950 Fort Worth Highway Suite 500. And that phone number is 817-770-0096.
And when you're done delivering that item, you can visit us online at brianins.com. That's Brian with a Y.
Alrighty, folks.